All right, we'll begin with Steven.
Hi, Elyse. Thanks for taking time to talk to us this afternoon.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, kind of, you guys have been on the road for the week. You've had a chance now to kind of look over video from the last game. So kind of how are you guys feeling going into the game against Gotham? What are some of the things you feel like you want to improve on from the game against the Spirit?
Yeah, I feel like we have a lot to look forward to and a lot to grow upon from last game. I feel like we felt like we had control of the game for a lot of the moments throughout the game, and we just didn't finish, which I know was an issue that they spoke about a lot last year. And I feel like we're just kind of putting our heads down and realizing that as a team we need to come together and put away the few chances that we do get a game. And yeah, I feel like that's just the ultimate focus going into this Gotham game, is trying to create the same amount of chances that we created against Spirit, but putting them in the back of the net.
Thanks, Steven. And then next we have Taylor.
Is kind of building on that, what challenges have you guys talked about that you think that Gotham poses as a team for you guys?
I mean, I think we know that Gotham has a lot of great players, and they did really well in free agency and just bringing a lot of key people from the league into their team this year. So we know that they have a lot of speed up top and obviously a good balance in their midfield, not to mention the fact that they have a pretty solid defense and goalkeeper. So I feel like every team in the league is great, and we know that going into any game, no game is going to come easy. So I feel like Gotham poses different threats than Spirit maybe did, but I think that we'll be ready for them, and I think this time around we will finish out the game how we should.
And I know that this is your first season with the team. How are you kind of meshing with everyone? And do you think that having these road trips early has kind of helped between the training camp one and the Portland one? Now you guys are on the road a lot. Does having all of this time and kind of being immersed kind of help you build those relationships quicker?
Yeah, I feel like our team chemistry had already kind of been established in preseason, and I feel like that trip to Long Beach was definitely helpful in that realm. So I feel like before we even got on the road for season, we already had a pretty good idea and feeling of how good our team could be. And I think that being on the road, yes, it is helpful, but at the same time, it's we would much rather be at home. So I think there's pros and cons, but I would say that the growth of us as a team and the chemistry and the friendships and stuff was already kind of established prior to season even starting.
Sure. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Taylor. And then next we have Steph.
Hi, Elyse. Came in as a sub. You operated in that left side area of the field against Gotham. That's obviously Kelly O'Hara territory. Just wondering what the discussion has been around, looking to your role to try to exploit any space or maybe keep someone, a pressing fullback like that pinned back.
Yeah, I don't think there's really been any specific sort of conversations in terms of my specific matchup against Kelly O'Hara. I think that Laura's just going to put me in the best position for me to succeed and to create the hardest time for our opponent. So I feel like there hasn't been specific conversations on that in particular, but more so just what I can continue doing as a player to continue posing threats on our opposition and just helping our team be as successful as possible.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Steph. And then we have Taylor.
One last one for me. I know you guys, you had mentioned how you'd prefer to be at home. I know it's looking forward a little bit, but what are your thoughts on finally getting to play a home game at Lumen next weekend?
Yeah, I think that I'm super excited. It'll be my first time playing in Lumen as the home team. I obviously had played in Lumen last year with Kansas City in the semifinal and then in league play as well. But I think that Reign has a great community and a great support system and a great set of fans. So I'm very excited to play in front of them, and I know that we'll feel their presence as soon as we step foot in Lumen.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Taylor. And then Susie, you can go.
Hi, Elyse. You talked a little bit about finishing, and I don't want to belabor the point very much, but obviously it was a little bit of a continuation of how the team started last year, and you weren't here during that time. But I'm wondering, just as a collective team, you're only one game through the season, and what just the mentality is when you're trying to address something like finishing, just how you all collectively think about it. Do you think about it much, or do you just really focus on just sticking to the game plan and not letting it overanalyze it?
Yeah, I think it's a balance of both. I think that as a striker, it's super important not to overthink, and it's kind of like that mentality of, you know, I missed this one, but there's going to be plenty of opportunities to come. And like you said, we are one game into the season, so I think just pumping the brakes a little bit and realizing that we're all meant to be here and we were all brought on this team for a reason, and we're all capable of finishing. So it's more so when the moment comes, can we lock in and stay focused? And that just comes with training. So we kind of had a conversation about just staying focused and locked in at training and holding each other to a higher standard of when we do miss or when we feel like we should have put goals away in training. I feel like that converts over to games. So rather than being a little bit more laxed in training and then having that translate over to a game, we're holding the standard a little bit higher now in training, so that it's like when it does come to a game, you're not overthinking and it just comes because we've been training that way. And not to say we haven't been training that way, because I feel like the standard has been high since I've gotten here. But I think that just putting more emphasis on that after this first week was kind of the communication that we had.
Thank you, Susie. And then are there any other questions? All right, looks like we're good. Thank you, Elyse.
Yeah, thank you.